When I was 13 years old in the 7th grade, I remember sitting in homeroom with a friend of mine and boldly planning out my entire life. And at that time, I thought that I was going to get married at 25, buy a house and have kids at 27, become a CEO at 30, and be well on my way towards becoming a millionaire. And I sit here now, maybe 50 days away from my 30th birthday, and I'm back at home living with my mom. I don't have a career. I'm not married. I don't have kids. And my financial life is pretty behind. And when I think about turning 30, I feel very disappointed that a lot of the things I anticipated for my life have not happened. And this year in particular, I've really struggled with feeling like I'm falling behind. And my confidence is down. I feel embarrassed. And I feel like my window to create a good life for myself and get my act together is rapidly closing in on me. And it's very depressing. But I'm trying to heal myself, and I'm trying to heal from the disappointments that I feel and recognize that I'm not alone in feeling this way, because I think particularly millennial and like Gen Z generations, we tend to put a massive amount of pressure on ourselves to achieve certain pivotal moments of like success in our lives. And I'm also trying to learn and practice being kinder to myself and not so critical of my life's journey. When I try to think about where all of this pressure comes from, I think probably the first thing that pops into my mind, and probably everyone's mind, is social media. I think that social media has really warped our idea of how quickly success manifests in life and what you should feel at certain points in your life. And I mean, we know this, right? Like, social media is a highlight reel of everyone's happiest moments. And when you're seeing these images constantly, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram, or now it's like TikTok, of people living their best lives, and you see them reaching those milestones of like buying a house or having kids or you know, getting a promotion or starting a business and it's successful, you're constantly being bombarded with like, wow, all of these people are living these great, phenomenal lives, and what am I doing? I'm sitting in my bed and I'm scrolling. And it's just very paralyzing, and it makes you feel like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why doesn't my life look like that? Why don't I feel that happy? And it's very dangerous, because we have to constantly remind ourselves that social media is not real. And even when someone is reaching a certain milestone, it doesn't mean that they're actually happy. They could just be presenting themselves that way, because you will never know the real story behind the photo or the video unless you know that person personally and they tell you. But it's so easy to forget that, and it's so easy to fall into the trap of comparison and looking at other people's lives and feeling inadequate because your highlight reel doesn't compare to theirs. But the reality is, you are living your life. You are in your life. You know the emotions that you're experiencing, and you know the mundane, uninteresting points of your life, but you don't know the mundane, uninteresting points of someone else's life that's behind a screen. Something that has really been helping me to release myself of all of this pressure is telling myself that I am allowed to curate my life in the way that I choose. Because it's my life, and I have to live it in a way that's going to fulfill me and my soul. And you have that right as well. Like, we don't have to commit to designing our lives in a way that fulfills what society tells us we should be doing. And a big example of that is how many women now are starting to decide that they don't want children at all. Like, I have friends in my own life who are really saying to themselves, you know what, kids is not really something that I see in my future. And they have a right to make that choice for themselves. My desire to have a home still stands, but because I know that I still want to explore and travel and see different cities and different countries, my mindset is a home is not really that close in my future, because I have to know where I actually want to live and settle down and stay for a long period of time. So why should I continue to put this pressure on myself and feel bad or feel guilty that I'm not able to buy a house at 30 years old, when in actuality, I don't even want a house right now? An apartment of my own, yeah, sure, but a house? No, I don't want that responsibility right now. And that's okay. I don't have to want these things, and I'm not abnormal for choosing to postpone some milestones of success in our society. So I think that a healthier way to look at your 20s and 30s, and the way that I'm trying to look at them moving forward, is that these are decades for just laying the groundwork. Your 20s are a time to explore, to take big risks, to make a ton of mistakes, to fail, and to really just try to understand who you are. And now when I look at my 20s, I did exactly that. And I did the corporate thing, and I lived in New York City, I lived alone, I had an apartment, and then I decided that I wasn't happy, and I quit my job, and I moved to Italy, and I tried to start a business, and it didn't work. So I started teaching, and I explored a new kind of career. And when my time was up in Italy, I came back home. And now, going into my 30s, I'm taking all of that experience, all of those lessons that I've learned, and trying to figure out, okay, how do I use that to really cement who I am and what I want for myself, and create the steps to make it happen. But I think the most important thing for all of us to remember, and I think it's the hardest thing to like put into practice, is that we can't be so focused on the goals that we have in our life that we forget to actually live the moments in between. Because everything, as cliche as it may sound, everything is about the journey. And if you're not trying to embrace the day here and now, it's very difficult to actually have a good life. And the thing is, things are gonna be hard, and failure is normal, and making mistakes is normal, and sometimes they're very painful, and sometimes they will throw you off balance. And I know from experience, because I've made mistakes and I've made decisions that have hurt me. But what I'm trying to do now is to recover and to move forward and to use the lessons that I've gained from all of those experiences in my life to lead me to the life that I really want. But I have to remember that it's a process, and I have to experience a little joy along the way. And so I hope for any of you who are watching, just remember, like, life is hard enough, and you've got to try to find the little things that help you to enjoy it and not just feel miserable or down because, you know, you're not doing what you're supposed to do or your life isn't together. I think when you can let go of that, it becomes easier to realize that even if we feel like we're falling behind, we're probably not. You know, we're probably exactly where we need to be. And if you do actually have some catching up to do, you can do it. There is always still time, and you're not alone. So I hope that this video is helpful for you. I feel like it definitely is therapeutic for me to make this and talk about it, because this past year has been just a complete mess, and I'm trying to pick myself back up, and I want to walk into my 30s like just with a little bit of grace and some peace in my spirit. So if this video can help you feel that way, then I did what I set out to do, and I hope to hear from you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.